Finally, the Raw Netflix era has begun. We have a full recap of the historic episode. This is the Spandex StandUps.
Dude.
I mean,
How'd you like?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man.
New-
Hadn't seen you in the year 2025
It's
yet.
2025. Happy New Year. How was your holiday? How was your New Year? What'd you do?
It was great, man. I was in Huntsville, Alabama at Levity Live. Great club, different name. They changed the name, different ownership.
It's Levity Live. It used to be Stand Up Live.
Stand Up Live.
Okay,
I
awesome.
was there opening for Derek Stroop.
Oh my God.
If you hadn't seen Derek Stroop, he is the next one up.
If you haven't seen
you need
Derek
to watch
Stroop,
him.
he's very easy to find on Paramount Plus on the Nate Land Christmas special,
Yes.
where he absolutely
Destroyed.
crushed it at
And
the Grand Ole
I got to
Opry.
talk to him. They cut a joke or two out, like for time, and he's like, "It still flowed." I was like, "I couldn't even tell they cut a joke out." That's
Amazing.
great.
It's funny. I'm actually going to be at the Tulsa Looney Bin.
There you go.
In Oklahoma.
I hear nothing but great things about that.
January 23rd through 25th. I was supposed to be featuring for Derek Stroop.
Oh.
But now I'm looking, and it looks like he's on some big arena tour with
John Chris. Nate.
or Nate. I think he's with both those guys.
If he's not crushing it on the road with Nate, he's opening for John Chris in arenas too.
But I saw that date. He might have moved, so I'm still figuring out who. But how was the shows?
Dude, great room. 7:00 show sold out. You know, as the South do, they wanted to get there early.
Yeah.
Derek kept making the joke, which was 100% accurate. He's like, I could have sold 1,000 tickets to the 7:00 show, because even after he sold out, he had people coming out of the wood because he's from Alabama. So homecoming show for New Year's, I got to meet his mom, his whole family, just super nice. And it's packed out, sold out early show, and then the late show was awesome as well, like pretty much close to sold out. And then we did the toast at midnight and the countdown. Derek did the countdown, so I got to be on stage. I just love that, man. Like Laura got to go with me, my wife. Like I make it a point now that if I travel and do shows for New Year's Eve, which is a great time for comedy, we got to be rolling. We got to be ready to go. That my wife gets to go with me and hang out and stuff. So we had a blast.
Dude, I love to hear that.
We got some Steve Weisers.
Yeah. I was traveling. I did a lot of driving this trip. Drove up to New York.
Hold on, I was like, time out. Did you drive to your gig in Vermont?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I drove. I did a lot of driving. I drove from with my partner Mary Alice and my dog Maya.
So did you go to Vermont and then over to New York, or did you go to New York, Vermont?
So what we did was we drove from Nashville to New York, where we spent Christmas.
Yeah.
Then we drove from New York to Vermont.
How long was that?
So
once you get up northeast, I don't know what's up
Nashville to New York's about 14 and a half hours. So we did that in 2 days. Spend the night somewhere. Then New York to Vermont, like 4.5, 5 hours.
Really?
Not bad at all.
Because you literally could have told me 30 minutes, and I would have been like, all right. And you could have told me 6 hours, and I'd be like, all right.
Yeah,
I just don't know how close things are.
Yeah, the Northeast is wild how kind of close things are, and how like close you are to Canada. You don't really realize like that. It's obviously you're close to.
Is everything well labeled? Like you're not just gonna get on a road and be like, "Oops, I'm in Canada."
Yeah, no, things are well labeled.
Okay, good. That's my biggest concern, because I have some past discrepancies that I don't know if our great state above us will allow me entry into their country.
Yeah,
so
no,
I
you
never
don't wanna
wanted to
get caught
accidentally get into Canada.
Yeah, they're strict now, but hey, they might become a part of America. So it might just become the 50-50. Yeah. But no, I did some shows. You said New Year's Eve shows are great. I actually did some shows December 28th at Woolen Mill Comedy Club in Vermont. Amazing time. I got asked to headline semi last minute. I told him I was going to be in town. I wasn't booked for comedy. I was there just for vacation.
Yeah.
But I had done the Vermont Comedy Festival earlier in the month. Same town. So I hit those guys up. They were like, come on out and headline. Show was so fun. Did a bunch of new material. Did a bunch of stuff from my album. And the full set is now on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So for those of y'all that want some comedy.
You got the nice Vermont beard in, too. I appreciate you keeping it going for the wintertime.
Yeah.
Our face gets cold, okay? That's why
So then we drove from Vermont back to New York back to Nashville.
Okay.
So
split it up again? Nice.
But very excited to be here.
I was gonna say, it sounds like y'all got a system now as many times as y'all got to travel to New York.
And our dog is like, she just chills in the back, and she's
good
the
road
best.
dog.
Best road dog.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we got
a show
we've
for
got
you.
quite the episode.
Before we get into the Raw on Netflix, I wanted to give a RIP to Sweet Daddy Siki, aka Elkin James. Really broke some racial barriers down in the 60s and 70s in the NWA. And he's was actually Edge and Christian's trainer. So nice little ties to the wrestling community.
Any family wrestling as well? Like
I didn't see any.
Okay.
I didn't see any branches or anything. The big tie was Edge and Christian.
Wow.
Because he ended up living in Canada and opened a wrestling school up there. So
kudos to those guys for still carrying AEW right now.
Reluctantly
literally carrying the company. I mean,
we got a comment
that we don't.
we got a comment on YouTube that we don't cover other wrestling companies.
Hey, AEW,
our eyes out there. Okay, we're
AEW coverage. Check. Okay,
we did it. See,
check.
I actually got some pro wrestling Noah for you.
Yeah.
Because Omos is a GHC tag team champion in pro wrestling Noah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him doing something. I mean, he was just such a...
He's still signed to WWE. They let him know we're only going to bring you out for... you're going to be essentially a special attraction.
Omos is massive. I mean,
Omos was born in the wrong the wrong time. I love the carnival.
He might
life.
be a giant.
Like by saying he's a carny, is not an insult to me. I love that life. Like I think it should be way more glamorized than it really is. Like those people are amazing back in the late 1800s and 1900s that did the carnival traveling. Like it's was a precursor for modern day comics, to be honest with you. So I love that he's a special attraction. Is not a knock on him whatsoever.
No, totally.
He is tag team champions with Jack Norris, a Scottish lad.
Love that.
It looks kind of like a mini Drew McIntyre. Awesome. So yeah, Omos getting gold out there, man.
That's great.
One last thing I wanted to get your opinion on.
Yeah.
They announced it last night.
Yes.
2026 Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I have very mixed feelings Yeah. For those of y'all that aren't aware, last night on Monday Night Raw on Netflix, they did put out a promo for the Royal Rumble happening in Saudi Arabia in 2026. We know that they have this long-term deal with Saudi Arabia to put on maybe 2 shows a year for about 10 years. I don't know what
like
year.
4 years in? 5 years?
I think they're maybe 5 or 6 years in.
Well, I thought it was like 2020, 2021 that they started it.
And so when they first started bringing these shows to Saudi Arabia, they all felt very non-consequential. They weren't really a part of the storylines. They would just throw these random matches that almost felt like the Saudi Kings put together, right? And they really had nothing to do with the storyline or the programming, and this is all part of the Vince McMahon era. Recently, though, they have done a very good job organically integrating those Saudi Arabia shows into the storyline not just throwing random... I mean, granted, we got Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, but do we think that match was requested? No. I think we're past...
They requested Yokozuna versus Macho Man, really.
I think we're past the time of them like requesting certain matches and certain appearances.
They have definitely gotten up with the current product. I appreciate it.
And so when you look at like King and Queen of the Ring happening in Saudi Arabia, and then that being a part of the story, it's great that they've been able to do that. Now, I have an issue with the Royal Rumble happening in Saudi Arabia. I don't have an issue with a big PLE like King and Queen of the Ring happening because I think
it was great.
It was great, and I thought they did a really good job adding real legitimacy and stakes to it by creating this tournament. If you win the tournament, you get a beautiful title. If you win that title, you also get a chance at a world champion. The thing about the Royal Rumble is people should be able to travel from all around.
Very true.
To be able to watch it live.
Yeah.
I would not have a problem if they did it in Europe.
Same.
Because people can travel from all over.
Yes. That was my biggest problem. The issue with it's a little isolated.
With putting this match that does mean so much the story, to the fans, to put it in a place where movement seems semi-restricted, like are people
can fans go and be themselves?
I don't really like.
You know what I mean?
I don't like the idea of the Royal Rumble happening in a place where fans can't totally be themselves, and like not every fan that. Like, even if the Royal Rumble's in Europe, fans from the U.S. can go. If the Royal Rumble's in the U.S., fans from Europe can come. I don't know if that's going to be the case for this Royal Rumble.
Right.
And so for that,
Saudi Arabia is trying to be a little more tourist friendly. I will give them that. But like you said, I don't think this is it, man. I take political correctness and policies and everything out the window. They don't deserve it. There's been way too many fans in Europe that deserve this. France deserves this. Germany deserves this.
Are the fans keeping up with the product to the point where they'll fully understand like what's going on? Exactly. Will everyone in attendance be It
hurts my heart because it's my favorite pay-per-view.
It's my favorite pay-per-view as well.
So I just don't want it. Yeah. Anytime you see something that you love in Saudi Arabia, and this is not a knock on them as a people, they don't care. Mm-hmm. I watched the basketball game. My Celtics were playing in Saudi Arabia. Granted, it was a preseason, but you cut to the audience and they were all on their phones and they're talking. It's a social experience. It's going to the Grammys. No one cares about the awards. You got to be seen. No one cares about the product as much as other countries do there, and that's my only problem. Is it? Granted, I love that they're in Saudi Arabia. A lot of people don't like they're in Saudi Arabia to begin with. I love seeing the kids' face, the little girls that get to see women can do whatever they want to do.
I will say a couple of benefits to it being there is if you are trying to do something so massive at this scale on an international level, Saudi Arabia has proven that they can handle these kind of massive events, including the WWE Universe installation and activation that they build.
I definitely think they're capable of
it. And if it is going, again, as a shareholder, I own the stock.
Same, bro.
I mean, if it's going to lead to millions and millions and millions of new fans being able to enjoy the product in real time the way we have been able to, if that is the goal, if that's underlying, okay, let's talk about that. But that doesn't, I don't know if that's the case here. Yeah. So I think we're in alignment on this.
All right, we got so much to talk to. First of all, shout out Chelsea Green, first United States champion. Didn't happen on Raw last night, but we were a big fan. We were pulling for it. It happened. We got Chelsea Green and Michin in the finals.
Yeah.
Love that.
And shout out to Tiffy time, baby.
Champ. Tiffy time is here.
In the bank. Tiffy in the bank. We have a new world champion, Nia Jax.
I love it, man.
I mean, we have two. I mean, a lot has happened.
I enjoyed the
But we're not going to talk about SmackDown on this episode.
Right. This is all focusing on Raw.
But I also really enjoyed the cash-in. I loved the timing of it. We are literally in a new era.
You got it right. Chelsea Green deserves a championship. Tiffy deserves a championship. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Raw on Netflix. Immediately felt good. It felt slower. It felt like they were going to take their time. They weren't cutting any. They weren't like, hey, hurry up. It immediately, as soon as it clicked on and they did the then now, it felt like a PLE.
I mean, I want to break this down from even the dang loading screen.
Yes.
You know? The loading screen, counting it down.
That's the first thing my wife said,
and then
was the loading screen was perfect introduction.
In the way that they're introducing these characters in a very, again, Marvel, cinematic, comic book kind of way, really making them larger than life. Then the show starts. And again, it's that classic intro we're used to. And then I kind of like how it starts with, here's the arena, we're here, it's Monday Night Raw.
They could have just showed us the cold open, but they showed how it presented in the arena. Chef's kiss.
And then, let's really talk about that opening video.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they posted it on social media before we
I didn't watch it on purpose because I wanted to watch it real time.
I watched it.
I saw it and I was like, no, I'm not doing it for myself.
I showed Mary Alice. I cried. I mean, and then...
Are you good? Are you rocking me right now?
Oh my God. And then, I mean, just that beautiful promo, the way Triple H, again, talks about the story of WWE. And again, this is what fans who have been riding with the product for so long, that video, we were like, do you see that it's not just fake risk? Do you see what this... Do you see actually how integrated into your life this thing has been? The way that they had the ring covered was such a nice touch, and it really showed the new lighting in the arena. It felt like they had lights between every single seat.
That was WWE's? That wasn't the Intuit Dome?
Well, so I think we'll see. We'll see next week, and then I'll also see in person on February 10th when I'm going to Monday Night Raw live at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee.
Side note of Triple H, or talking about it integrating into our lives. I didn't watch the whole post game. That's ridiculous. But Triple H did say a little. I saw a clip of him talking about someone brought up why he says heels and faces and shoots and like using wrestling terms that were not.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't say on wrestling TV. And he was like, we don't want to insult your intelligence. These are words that you as fans use on the internet. We see you. We're not going to insult. Like, if it's a shoot, I'm going to call it a shoot. If he's a heel, he's like, we hear this every day now. Like, people that don't know anything about wrestling talk about a person being a bad guy, they call him a heel. It's integrated into our lives.
Again, and this decision saved wrestling.
Yeah.
To talk about this, to open it up.
Right.
To acknowledge.
Can you imagine 2025 and they still tried to keep it from us? They were still firing wrestlers if they were seeing each other?
It's still Santa Claus out here.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if they tried to do that? We're like, hey, man, we know. Like, And
it totally saved the business. And again, this goes into the layers of why people love wrestling. And again, that video really touched on the layers. It's the story, it's the people, it's the years, it's the history, it's the theatrics, it's the extravagance. That opening video was amazing. Cut to Triple H, curtain drops. He's front and center.
That got me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did a little grown man.
And then I thought what he said was like perfect.
Yeah, spot on.
Short to the point, but he actually, he touched on it. And this is the Netflix era. I like how he officially came out and said, how we like to maybe in retrospect call our eras what they were. No, we are proactively calling this
the Netflix
era, and
he's exactly what we wanted the authority on TV to be.
And do you know what the difference is between this era and all the other eras?
What's that?
Or at least the eras we've gotten. Right now, what I'm seeing is when you look at that show that we just saw, the thing that the Netflix era will be is it will be the payoff for the years, the past 12 to 15 years of us watching CM Punk, of us watching Seth Rollins, of us watching Roman Reigns, and really of them making the best of a mess.
Yeah.
They were not put in good situations. Yeah. But we all saw the potential. But when you look at what we saw on Monday Night Raw, it felt like old school WCW. Defined
83 weeks.
Defined characters.
Yes. Groups.
People who are now standing in their truth.
Yeah.
This is not Drew McIntyre finding himself. This is not Jey Uso finding himself. This is not.
We know who they are.
I mean, these are people who are ready to be seen on that internet. This almost felt like Raw and SmackDown had almost been WWE NXT on the global scale, where now
2024 makes a whole lot of more sense. The backgrounds that they had to do, the deep dive they had to do, the trials and tribulations that Drew McIntyre had to go through. I'm not going to lie to you, and we'll save it for the end of it.
These guys are so grounded.
Yes.
In their purpose, in their meaning, in their why that... And if you look at even the product 3 months ago, I would say they weren't there yet. Well, but last night, like that, we have entered into... All of them are standing in a new confidence that I don't know that we've actually seen up until this point.
You remember when we used to watch a promo or a character would come out and do something, and all we could think is, why? Why did they do that? I haven't thought about that in a very long time. I know why they did that.
Right.
I know why that happened now. I know why these two are talking. I know why these two don't get along.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching matches like when WCW, we just gave them props, but when they started to fall, you'd see two guys in a feud and be like, why in the world did they put those two together?
Right.
And I haven't asked that in a very long time of the current product.
And again, we got to keep in mind, Monday Night Raw has been going for 32 years.
Yeah.
And there was a time back in, again, the Attitude Era, I would say is the last time when performers were standing in such confidence.
Yeah.
We have that again.
Yeah.
We have people who are no longer like, you're telling me to be this weird character that doesn't totally align with me. They're all like, no, I am totally aligned with the character that I am being on TV, and we can just feel it. And again, the fans are feeling the payoff of the last 10 years of watching these people struggle through the really tough creative choices that were made, and now we're not. It's so nice to see that.
No, you can feel the confidence coming from the writers' room, and I don't even know who's in the writers' room anymore. It's great. All right, Triple H cold open. Of course, The Rock comes out right after.
Which again, like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I don't know that I was expecting it. But ask Mary Alice what I did when that moment happened. I stood up and I paced my whole house.
You're like, how's this going to go?
When I was just so excited. I mean,
because my brain was like, who's going to be the first one out? Who's going to be the first one out? Didn't think it was going to be The Rock.
No, and for those of y'all that have listened to this podcast, I've probably told you the story of the first time I ever went to Monday Night Raw and The Rock returned and that reaction. Every time The Rock comes out, that feeling that I had as a 6th grader at Monday Night Raw when The Rock returned and I was there live, I was so excited because, again, we just love to see him back.
That's what anytime Triple H's music hit or Shawn Michaels' music hits, I get that same feeling. So I understand that's your guy. That's the guy that does it for you.
And then he came out. He wasn't the final boss.
He was not. He was corporate Rock.
He was corporate Rock.
He was TKO Rock. Because I wanted to get your opinion on how did you feel about the overnight, because they brought it back in a promo later on in the night. How did you feel about the overall showing of The Rock and Cody Rhodes in the same room and how The Rock treated Cody Rhodes?
Again, because the fans know and we all just love this thing. I didn't totally mind it because what The Rock did, he put Cody over.
Yeah.
Globally.
Yeah.
In a major way.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do as the director of the board.
Of course.
That's what you have to do.
Of course.
And again, it went along with the storyline.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
The Rock is now aligned with Roman Reigns. He's acknowledging him, or at least
we never got
a
rift between Roman Reigns and Rock.
At least on the surface.
If you're following the storyline and we're staying true, if Roman's a good guy and Rock and Roman are still together, then technically Rock's still a good guy.
And so even though Cody and Rock had their beef, Cody helped Roman. And because Cody helped Roman and Rock is acknowledging Roman, now Cody kind of has to be in those good graces. But what he did was he put him over on a global. And he gave him his flowers because the truth is it's been, Cody has carried the company on his back for 3 years straight.
No doubt.
Even when Roman was the champ,
even with the
Cody
pec.
has been carrying the company for 3 years. What I find, hold on, well, no, this is unrelated to the Cody thing.
Well, what I picked up from the way they presented The Rock and Cody is the feeling I got is The Rock's not going to be involved with WrestleMania in a storyline capacity.
Well, what I got is he's not going to be involved with Cody.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they very much so last night put their beef on a very, very back burner.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do just got to comment on when The Rock comes out and tells us that this is the largest gate. I have mixed feelings.
Right.
As the shareholder, I'm like, yeah, baby. Yeah, this is the largest gate for Monday Night Raw. Or no, not Monday Night Raw, any arena event in history. That includes like WrestleMania 22, which was held in an arena.
Oh, so he's just saying not stadiums.
But what he's saying is we're taking your money. So as a shareholder, I'm like, I love this.
You're right.
Stock's going up. As a fan, I don't know why the fans are totally cheering because what they're saying is we are hiking up our prices.
Yes. You already proved you're going to be here.
And we keep doing it. So it shows how powerful and persuasive The Rock is to get people to come out there to cheer for the fact that like they are like giving their money and that prices keep going up. And that was Monday Night Raw. It wasn't, granted, it was Monday Night Raw on Netflix. It wasn't WrestleMania, though it felt like WrestleMania. But let's talk about that first match. Kicking it off with Solo and Roman. And I like how they did that. Because again, if you have a bunch of people coming in that aren't totally familiar with the product, you have Rock calling Roman out, my cousin.
Acknowledging him as his future, hopefully, tribal chief. And
then, again, for those people that might be new to the product, that don't fully understand, that might not, here you get to see now Roman Reigns. The Rock just mentioned him, his cousin. Now you saw
that the Samoans are very much so a big part of wrestling history. The Rock, who before this was arguably the most popular Samoan wrestler, is now acknowledging that his cousin, Roman Reigns, is now the current head of the table. The only thing that got me, that made my ears perk up out of all of this, is he made sure to point out that he is an elder. He is a chief himself.
And he put out a video on Instagram. If you guys want to watch it on Instagram, The Rock put out a great video really explaining what these titles mean in their culture, how you get there, what's expected of you once you get there. And I can't help that he put that out.
On purpose. Because we're still not knowing how Solo got the Olafalo in the first place. So I'm still thinking this comes back to Rock some way, somehow. He just played nice for us to not think about, because everyone full on expected him to align with Solo last night, and the fact that he didn't, I like that. We don't need an end to that yet.
No,
I just think he made sure to point out he was an elder. Michael Cole kept hyping up that they don't know how Solo got the Olafalo, so I feel like there was a connection.
And again, if we're in the Vince McMahon era, The Rock is turning on Roman last night
immediately.
But in the Triple H era, he's like, what actually is better is if one of the most famous men on the planet, who also happens to be a legend in wrestling, The Rock, acknowledges the future of our company to 80% of the world.
Last night was a party.
Then turn on him.
Yeah, they didn't need the bad last night. No. The fact that as soon as I saw what they were doing with, Rock's here to celebrate, I appreciated that, because it was his moment. He is on the board. He did help facilitate this.
And again, from a business perspective, you just united Roman Reigns on Netflix.
Yes.
United
and
Cody Rhodes.
Yes. You just said, hey, these are our two guys. Because Cody's probably staying on SmackDown.
It does everything.
Roman's going to be the face of Raw.
The way they handled it really did everything. One thing I do want to shout out is Solo Sikoa.
Dude, leaps and bounds.
Up to the plate over the past few months. The microphone.
His mic skills have grown tremendously.
And wrestling, again, Solo Sikoa, if we're putting that first match into perspective.
Yes.
Solo Sikoa is the sibling of Jimmy and Jey Uso.
The little brother.
Who's the cousin, again, of Roman Reigns. They all grew up together.
Probably beating the crap out of each other.
They were kids in a room.
Can you imagine those sleepovers?
And now they're doing it on Netflix.
I love it, man.
Like,
there's got to be a tie-up. I hope for my sake, my little tiny little heart, my little feelings I got in my chest, I hope that there's a tie-up at the beginning, and Roman so at least like, yo, bro, we're doing this. Because from a comic standpoint, you get to do a big show with we both have a mutual friend in a big name comic in Dusty Slay. It is nice doing these massive shows with him and just being like, man, I remember when me and you did a show in front of nobody.
Right.
So it's got to be a cool feel.
Yeah, and to be able to do the things that you were doing as a child on Netflix in front of the world, sold out arenas.
He was wearing the Kobe's. Shout out Roman rocking the Kobe's.
And again, for those of y'all that are like, why are these wrestling fans so crazy, obsessed, and passionate about this thing? It's because not only are we watching the story, the real life story
it's
going
these people's
on
whole lives,
is this family getting to do what they're best at and what they love doing.
It's all they know.
And again, when you think about the best art, the best performances, it's people that are just so locked into doing what they love to do. And that's what that first match was last night. Oh, and again,
to quote Jim Cornette, who's growing on me. I'm starting to become a big Cornette fan, dude. Like, I understand why people don't like him. I understand. But Cornette is growing on me tremendously.
Yeah.
To quote Jim Cornette, when someone just says it's just wrestling, yeah, and wrestling is my life.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Yeah. So, tribal, the Solo, cousins in the ring, your usual chaos with your match. They were playing off the fans. They were playing off the fans. The fans wanted tables. They gave them tables.
And this match had everything. It resembled WrestleMania 40's main event, with all of the different sides coming out, them rolling things out, KO coming out.
I did like the tie-in with KO.
Yeah.
Because we got our usual suspects with the Usos and the Tomatonga and Jacob, which, by the way, Jacob just looks so fluid in the ring, man. That moonsault is beautiful.
Yeah.
But the fact we got KO tied back into it is money.
And again, the reason why KO is so mad is because he's mad at Roman. Roman made his life a living hell for many years.
Which is right.
And then Cody comes in and helps Roman like that. And KO thought him and Cody were friends.
I'm full on Team KO in this. So, KO got wronged. He needs to be righted.
So that match was amazing. And again, shout out to Solo, who really came into his own this year and really, even though it felt like he was just there to tell Roman's story, he was there front and center. And I hope he eventually gets the credit that he deserves. Oh, to the referee.
Yeah, that ref. So, because even after everyone cleared out, I was like, "Who's out there?" Which, little side note, new referee outfits,
sick.
Love them.
Love them.
There's someone on the ground. I was like, "Who's still dead?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, it's a referee." He sold it. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and so again, Solo. I hope history looks back on Solo's role in all this as not just telling Roman's story, but telling his story.
He had a great rookie year, man. We kept forgetting when everyone was trashing on rookie.
Been the I mean, gosh,
he could have been the breakout. Yes,
yeah,
because the dude he was rough up front, but show me a wrestler that isn't. And to have to grow leaps and bounds the way he did on live TV while the internet wrestling community is picking you apart. Kudos to you, Solo. You've become one of my favorite. Obviously I don't like you in the storyline aspect. I'm Team Roman, but you're becoming one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. And I want to see how you progress.
What'd you think about the presentation of the match? This was our first match we saw in the Netflix era. I mean, and it's hard to tell what was the Intuit Dome or Intuit Arena, whatever they call it, versus what will be the new production standard.
Right.
Loved the screens up top.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it leaps and bounds. The way that they present the matches, the different when they come back from a commercial and they just the overall. I love all of it.
I mean, that scene when the Rock came out and looked up and and again, I love the 360 in the round. That is going to add so much.
I think they have a great production team, and I don't think it's going to drop off at all.
New tables.
The only mark is that I have, and this was carried throughout. You saw it in the Drew McIntyre Jay spot. Forgive me if I'm sounding like an old fart here. I would like finishers to mean something again. We have 3 or 4 finishers. He got him after 3 spikes. It shouldn't take 3 spikes. It's your finishing move for a reason.
Yeah.
The skill set and the arsenal of these wrestlers nowadays is tremendous and leaps and bounds what these guys were doing in the 80s and 90s when they just needed one finisher to take their guy out. So I think a wrestler that endures 4 finishers, no.
Yeah, what are we doing anymore?
Right, come on. I don't need to see Roman spear the guy 17 times. Catch me. I loved when they were on that kick of how can we get the wrestler into the RKO in a new way.
Right.
Get creative with the finishers again. Just don't up the number of them, Absolutely. So that was my only knock.
So Roman wins the match.
How you feel about that? Was it the right call?
I think it's the right call because, again, we're entering a new era, the global era. All of these things have led to this moment where a bunch of, and again, we'll talk about a lot of the decisions that were made, a lot of through matches, not stories, not plot driven, but character driven, So Roman wins the match, becomes the tribal chief on the global scale again. He's reintroduced to the world as the tribal chief. The Rock comes out, congratulates him. Again, we talked about this, puts him over on a global scale, massive. And it also furthers their story. Because again, we all really do suspect The Rock has been kind of behind this the whole time.
And I like how they left just enough of the door open that we still kind of think that.
And so again, I think my predictions are still correct, which I do believe that this leads. Well, no, actually, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Because I thought that it was going to be Cody Roman at the Rumble, but it's going to be Cody KO in the ladder match. Which I'm really
so
excited
about that. I love that they're keeping the winged eagle belt. I think this was the compromise with Triple H and Cody. Triple H was like, we can't bring it back fully,
right?
But we'll give you a run with it, an extended run. But you're not going to have it. KO's going to. And I'm sure Cody's just like, as long as it's on TV, I don't care.
But then you're going to win it.
Yeah, that imagery of him. But then again, in my mind, I hope it's KO.
I want KO to win too. But
this has to pay off because this is.
But it's not going to be KO.
I know, but out of all the heel turns that KO, we've had a couple of heel turns with KO, and this has been super fresh.
Yeah, super fresh.
And he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's the bad guy in this, but he's not wrong.
That's WWE has perfected these anti-heroes.
Yeah.
So I like the move of Roman winning. I think ultimately it leads to he's probably going to enter the Rumble.
Yeah.
So he'll be in the Rumble. I think something happens between Rock and Roman at the Rumble.
Okay.
I don't think Roman is going to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay. I don't think he is either.
No.
I was thinking, my brain was kind of like maybe Cena does something, but I don't know if they're going to have Cena interact with Roman at all. So
I do like the idea of him winning. I'm curious what this does do to the Bloodline storyline. But again, I think what they alluded to is that The Rock is going to be involved at WrestleMania with Roman. I think that's what they set up.
I just hope that this
again, it's the first WrestleMania on Netflix internationally. I think
very true.
You know,
they got to come correct.
The Rock knows business like that.
Yeah. I just don't want him to drop Solo. That's all. I just want him to keep going. Like, I still want Solo to be a viable villain on SmackDown. Right. Let him shine on SmackDown, dude. This doesn't have to be all about him on Raw. Right. Put the OG Bloodline on Raw, keep the other Bloodline on SmackDown, and just let them forget about each other for a little bit. You know, like, I still love the fact of Solo running thing. Like, he can still have his own little group. You know, Jacob as his henchman is great. Yeah. Toma Tonga, love the guy, but should never be anything other than a henchman. Anyway,
so
you know
silly.
What I mean? Like, yeah.
It is.
I love it, dude.
I love it too, but I'm like, this is...
It can only go so far, you know? But yeah, we got Roman winning that. What are you giving it on a? You want to do stars or you want to do out of scale of 10?
Dude, let's do out of 10. I'm gonna give that match, gosh, a 9.7 out of 10. I thought it was dang
I'll
near
give it a
perfect.
9.
With the weapons that were used, the table going through the table, the chair shots were nice and clean. They look like they hurt. They really went at it. And again, the way that the whole thing played out at the end, Roman winning. The intensity of The Rock coming out, I'm giving the whole match like a 9.7. I thought it was.
I'll give you that.
I thought it was, again, at that level of the WrestleMania 40 main event.
Okay.
What about you?
I'll give it a 9.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I selfishly won't.
So are we doing points, 9 points, or are we doing like a point scales? Because if I'm rounding up, let's just do
you give it,
even
just give it a 10.
I'll give it a 10. I'm rounding up. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. It was a 10 out of 10.
Give it a 10.
10 out of 10 for me.
Give it a 10. Yeah, I'll go 9. I think I wish again, I just don't want them to forget about Solo. Yeah. And I'm just worried that's what it is. Like, that's the only reason it minus the point is like, I was full on board and then seeing Solo in So that's the only part. Then we get a Penta teaser. Full on name, and Chad Gable said he wanted a lucha door next week, and I'm pretty sure Penta's going to whip his ass.
Let's do it.
I'm very intrigued to see how WWE presents Penta. Yeah. I'm hoping it's more Lucha Underground instead of AEW. Yeah. So, because that dude was Undertaker.
I think we're going to get
Lucha Underground.
I think we're getting the cruiserweights back. The luchadors. I think we're getting like that style of
Dragon Lee.
Back. I think we're getting that.
Let them shine, dude.
Especially with that third hour on SmackDown now. It's like that used to be, remember, that used to be
the ones that they don't want to push.
What was it in the middle? What was it, 2018?
SmackDown 8?
17, right in the middle of the show was like the cruiserweight time where the
Brian Kendrick.
The ring ropes turned purple.
Oh, yeah.
Like whatever.
They straight up had a cruiserweight.
They straight up had a whole cruiser,
Enzo, all those guys. John Cena comes out, starts his farewell tour, says he's going to not only be in the Royal Rumble, that he is going to win the Royal Rumble.
And again, for those of y'all that don't fully understand what this thing is with John Cena, he said, I got one more year left in me. I'm going to train. I'm going to clear my schedule. I'm going to give my all to the business for one calendar year, and it's going to be 2025. So it started on Netflix, and I thought it was a great promo.
Great.
Again,
because he was down on himself.
Yeah.
He gave
Classic Cena.
He gave us the old school Cena formula.
Cena. Listen,
and in 2025, we're not tired of it. We're not chanting Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. No one said that. No one did. Nuh-uh. We are happy. Give me as much formulaic John Cena as I can possibly take.
Put on a third sweatband. You know what I'm saying? Like, put on a 4.
Put on more jorts.
Like, dude.
Break away your jorts into more jorts.
And he is so good at building it up he honestly, he might be the best promo guy ever.
Like, it's funny to say, but then when you break it down, like
going against other people and solo,
because any diehard wrestling fan refuses to say John Cena's cool whatsoever. I'm not that person. So if you think about it, like John Cena is the best promo against someone, people are going to be like, nah.
But who?
Yeah.
But who?
Because even CM Punk can falter with the wrong person.
Exactly.
John Cena can elevate anybody that he's against. But think back to the days that he would rap people out of the ring, and then he would get real with you, and then he'd be funny and playful, smiling to the kids, but then also destroying you on the mic. Like, I've always loved John Cena. I loved when everyone turned on John Cena. I love hearing the stories. I love the interview he just did with Chris Van Vliet where he talked about the heel turn almost happened.
Yep.
Love it all.
Is that what we're about to get? Are we about to get a heel turn? You don't think we get a heel turn?
He's going full on 2010 hustle, loyalty, respect, John Cena, my guy. My man's going to do 400 Make-A-Wishes this year. He's going to leave John freaking Cena.
Well, again, we're a lot of things were planted. He said he's going to win the Rumble, and I saw some headlines that they are speculating that Cody Rhodes versus John Cena is on the table for WrestleMania. So if he wins the Rumble, could be huge.
He's the only part-timer I won't be mad at.
I do think John Cena ends up.
I don't want to.
Again, that's 17. Does he win 17? Is massive WrestleMania money.
Oh, of course.
I think Cody losing to Cena.
But I think Elimination Chamber sells more. So I think he is in the last 3, maybe the last one eliminated in Royal Rumble.
I don't think he wins the Rumble.
Because John Cena as an underdog chasing that last possible opportunity
is what we want.
Is what everyone wants. And the fact that he said Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, I would almost attest we keep this going. He doesn't win Rumble. He doesn't win Chamber. He's about to reach for Money in the Bank and someone knocks him off. I think, if anything, this year of John Cena almost getting it is what's going to keep us going.
Yes, yes, so. I love that. Yes, I want to see that. That's great. Yeah, we don't want him to win the title in April.
We don't need that. Win it in December. Yes. And then next year, old school, have John Cena relinquish the belt because he only gave us a year.
Exactly.
Win the belt in December and then relinquish it. And then the Royal Rumble, old school, 1992, winner wins the belt. Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia.
No! Rhea Bloody Ripley is your new WWE Women's Champion. I need to give you a second.
God, she's the full package.
But I know how much you love Liv.
I love Liv, but
dude,
Rhea is the full. Liv's not the full package yet.
When Rhea walked out and did her stomp, me and my wife both had our breath taken away. She is just that lady.
She's that lady. Everything she does. Again, when you it's about Triple H said it best. A lot of guys come out here and play the game. I am the game.
I am the game.
Rhea's become the game.
Yes.
Liv has grown leaps and bounds.
Oh, no doubt. This feud was great for her.
And she is becoming the game. Rhea's already there.
Boom. And she needs the belt.
When you saw Rhea's face so great match. Yeah. It was a really, really strong match.
A little bit of me expected Becky or Charlotte's music to hit right after. I'm not going to lie. I think they're saving them for Royal Rumble. We love our returns at Royal Rumble, which makes sense. But a little bit of me was like...
And again, imagine...
And they were lingering, but for a different reason.
And how amazing is it that you are introducing these new stars while having these massive stars in kind of your back pocket that we all know are there.
Yeah.
Raw and Netflix didn't need Charlotte, but what you're doing is you are, again, making Rhea and Liv made women.
We're finally there at the point where you hope for a surprise, but it was such a good product and such a great presentation that I'm not upset when it happens. So I was like, oh, okay, no, they're not going to do it yet. Yeah. But I was okay. 10 years ago, I'd be like, why are they giving me what I want?
Yeah.
But they did give her the rub. They gave her the Undertaker. I love that the Undertaker's like, I'm not putting the thing on.
Yeah.
When you need me, I'm going to ride my motorcycle around. I'm going to do my little thing, and I'm going to call it a day.
But it was incredible. I mean, again, so Rhea wins, beats Liv, dethrones Liv. And again, it's a great way to reestablish Rhea internationally as she's it. Liv had a great story and will continue to have great stories. But then the way that, again, it ends and then the Undertaker comes out. And again, when I saw Rhea's face when the Undertaker came out was what sold me. I'm like, she is just...
I don't even know if she knew.
Her whole presentation feels very authentic and real.
She's like, let me sparkle it up for him.
And define.
So I was like, I didn't think I could like you any more than I already do.
So again, I read some things online where people were like, no stories were moved forward.
They ended a lot of
how
stories.
do you, yeah, I was going to say, like, what do you call Roman becoming the tribal chief again?
Right,
What do
the
you
undisputed tribal chief.
I mean, the first the first
John
three
Cena announcing his intentions? What do you mean no storyline?
What do you mean no storyline?
Dude,
Yeah.
Penta against Chat. We now know that Penta's first feud's going to be with Gable.
Yeah.
I just don't want him to put them in the LWO, man. Keep him away from the
I don't think
freaking
they will.
LWO. I hope the LWO comes out to help him, and then Penta turns on them. That's what I want. Penta don't need nobody.
Right.
All right. We get Logan Paul saying he is 100%. How do you feel about that? 100% a superstar. No other side hustles. Which is funny because I just read that he might be fighting Conor McGregor.
Right.
So I don't know what he means by that. But he said he's a superstar, no more side hustles. He's on Raw week in, week out.
I like it. They just really do need to find. I feel like they did a lot of pandering to him.
Mm-hmm.
Give him the U.S. title quick. They gave him a lot early on.
Yeah.
Now it's time for him just to be a part of this.
He's got to find his spot.
Yeah, you got to find your spot.
You're in the mid card, bro. You got it in mid card, bro. Which, mid card is like middle. Like you got your main eventers, then your mid card.
I mean, I got to say, Logan Paul's done a great job understanding the craft, taking his losses, but knowing that at the end of the day, they're victories. He's a natural heel, and he's so good at it, just naturally being just an a-hole.
I hope they put him with Penta, so Penta can knock that crap out of him.
I mean, I'm excited. I want to see a Logan Paul John Cena. I think that match
they got to
is
tease
money.
that at least. They got to give us that at SummerSlam, Survivor
Arabia.
Series, something.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I just think that
right,
match is money.
You're right.
I don't know when they pull that trigger, but
all right, I talked to you about this a little bit beforehand. I know you got some feelings to share about it. Jey Uso comes out with, we don't get a Travis Scott performance. Travis comes out, which I am a
performance that was promoted.
I'm a THC advocate. I do appreciate that he had it on the way down there. I want it to be as less stigmatized as it possibly can. So what's the difference between Stone Cold chugging beers in the ring and someone smoking a joint on the way to the ring?
If I'm there with my 10-year-old son.
Very true. That's a very good point.
And we're standing right there. Now, on one hand, if my 10-year-old son...
It is L.A. It's probably on the street corner outside.
And if my 10-year-old son's like a huge Travis Scott fan, well, then I'm even more terrified because now he's going to go smoke weed. He's seen Travis Scott do it open in an arena.
Wait till you're legal age, kids.
Again, I don't have a problem with him doing the song. I'm cool with it. I like that he was there. His enthusiasm was
like
great.
the song.
He was all about it.
Like when they played it in between cuts, it fit very well. Even Laura, my wife, mentioned something. She's like, that song is catchy.
Exactly. But I got to say, I have a problem with it. A Travis Scott performance was promoted.
Right.
Why
I thought he was going to kick the show off.
With all due respect, why can't you perform one song?
WWE paid them a lot of money.
While your music plays?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but that is also like, I'm not saying all hip hop is like that, but that's what I don't get about modern.
All right, Gramps.
No, that's just what I don't get about like modern live mainstream hip hop is like, it's just about being in the room with the artist while their song plays. And I just don't
I blame Ashley Simpson on SNL.
I just don't think that constitutes a performance. So I have and I'm not gonna lie, I have a problem with the weed thing.
That's fair.
It's just because again, there's kids in the arena.
I get it.
And you're forcing it on. And again,
my whole thing is I just don't want it to be a stigma, period. You know what I mean? Like I said, if he carries a bottle of beer down there, no one bats an eye.
Right.
That's my whole thing. I just hate that pedestal weed's put on. Is it so much worse than everything else? What about the Sandman smoking a cigarette with kids going to the arena?
True.
You know what I mean?
True. No, you're right. Actually, great point.
Thank you. I don't want THC to be that evil, but I do from a family standpoint.
And maybe if he hadn't put on
because that one guy was visibly annoyed. The guy that they stood there, the guy in the Philly hat, he was visibly annoyed. Like the camera cut to him, he's like,
And maybe if he hadn't put on a music festival where people died,
the guy doesn't have the best.
And there's just a general sense of disregard for anyone except him. Then it wouldn't have come off such a way. But
and if they had just promoted Travis Scott and not a Travis Scott performance, you know what I mean? Like I truly thought he would be on stage as soon as Triple H did his thing. He'd cut to Travis Scott performing. I don't know the theme song of the show. So I don't know, man. But I agree with you.
You know, but
I see it from both sides. They could have done a better job. I love the fact that he escorted their arguably most hyped entrance right now.
Yeah.
Putting him with Jay was the right call.
And it was huge, yeah.
It just wasn't executed properly.
I don't think
I
so.
agree with you on that.
But I did, the Jey Uso entrance was great. And dude, so many celebrities were there. I mean, we got to talk about
Macaulay Culkin got the pop of the night.
The star power. Macaulay Culkin was there. Seth Green was there. Boy Meets World was there. They only put Danielle's name now, even though he was right there. He was arguably the funniest guy on the show, too.
Feedy.
Ashton Kutcher was there. Michael Che was there. Gabriel Iglesias was there. Vanessa
I love
Hudgens.
Gabriel Iglesias got to mix it up with New Day a little bit.
Gosh, so many people. I'm probably missing people. I mean, Bill Simmons was there.
Bill Simmons shouting out the Celtics logo and knowing he was in LA country.
And you had Ari Emanuel sitting front row, owner of Endeavor. I mean, it was a star-studded night.
How do you feel about Jay getting the roll-up win over Drew?
I think it's great.
It made Drew
it adds to Drew's losing streak, kind of.
Also, and it
not
showed
his streak, but it's his losing.
Just the unfortunate stuff. Because the thing about it is Drew was getting too cocky again. Mm-hmm. He was walking around like, I'm Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
And Jay rolled him up.
And that's a big win for Jay.
Big win
on
for
Netflix.
Jay. Yes. Over Global. Drew McIntyre, who I still think they're going to give the Royal Rumble to.
Yeah. I would love that.
I that's who I'm pulling
Gunther,
for.
Drew would be money.
If Gunther, oh God, dude.
That's a good.
We got to see that.
That's a good wrestling.
They're gonna God.
Because remember WrestleMania 38. No,
was Sheamus
that triple threat
stole the show.
So
but every last one of them's chest was on fire.
I mean, honestly, do we run that? Because they're building Sheamus up again. It feels like
he just shout out Sheamus just signed a new 5-year deal,
and I feel like Sheamus needs to. He's such a.
I'm loving those matches him and Ludwig are putting.
Give us a triple threat at Mania and throw him in. Give us that match again, but for the world title. And
throw us a swerve. Let Sheamus win it.
That'd be. I honestly think that might get the biggest pop because people love Sheamus.
It would remind me of when they gave Zack Ryder the IC at WrestleMania. We all knew it wasn't going to take him anywhere, but we were happy for him. You know.
But no, it was a great. I thought it was a. Do we say it was the maybe the? It was a good match.
It was a good match. I still think Tribal Combat got it more. You know what I mean? I forgot all about our ratings. What would you give this one? Well, let's go back. What would you give Rhea and Liv?
Rhea and Liv, I'm going to give an 8.
I'll give it an 8 too. It wasn't their best match, but it was a nice closer. Well, it's not even the closer. It just gave Rhea. It was the proper way to give Rhea the belt back.
Yeah.
All right, and then we got Jay and Drew. I'm giving this one. I enjoyed this one. I'm giving it a 7.
I'm giving it a 7.
Yeah. It could have been better, but I understand why they held back. They didn't need to go all out. We didn't need a 10 out of 10.
I think at some point, maybe not on this podcast, but we actually talk about how much potential a Jey Uso match actually has.
I would love that to be a main topic.
Yeah,
let's dive into that one.
I mean, because I like Jay, and he's great, but
where do you go from here?
Does he deliver that 5-star? Does he have the moves?
Does he need to with that entrance?
Right, that's true. Actually,
great Gunther promo. Got super hyped. I was ready to run through a wall for Gunther after that promo. And then we got to talk about it. Hogan got booed out of the dadgum arena.
Oh man, Hulk Hogan, dude.
Who thought that? I understand where, we're a divided country. No way, shape, or form do I ever want this podcast to talk about politics. But who in their right mind thought putting Hulk Hogan in Los Angeles was a good idea?
Do you think that's why they were booing? Because of his recent alignment with Trump? I still
haven't forgotten the guy over saying what he said on the sex tape. So I can't imagine dude hadn't been forgotten for 3 sins ago.
Because I'm curious, right? Because again, Hogan, when you look at the business, you look at the world of professional wrestling, Hogan's an icon.
Mm-hmm. I respect him. I don't like him.
I respect his body of work.
Don't like him
so much in what he did to make wrestling global. He was maybe arguably the first global star out of America. You know, Andre the Giant was imported, and Hulk Hogan was exported. When What were they? Obviously, there's a lot there. Hulk Hogan said the N-word on tape when talking about.
Said he would never let his white daughter date a black guy. I still don't know why we forgave him from that. Because my whole thing is I go on Big E.
There's the sex.
Big E loves everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know of people that Big E doesn't like.
Yeah.
And Big E has come out and said, that dude is as fake as you can be. Yeah. I don't accept his apology. So if that apology isn't good enough for Big E, it ain't good enough for this guy. Yeah. So screw Hulk Hogan. Hate him. Triple H, you did a lot of good last night. Keep Hogan off our TV screen.
You know, that did feel like it did feel like, why do we need
it? It felt like 3 steps back.
Because we're
so forward. Why are we relying on Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, we didn't really need it.
No. Hulk hadn't been cool since that match with The Rock. That was as cool as we could have gotten out of the 21st century out of Hulk Hogan.
You know, and I said it to my girlfriend, you know, they say it, you live long enough, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and Hulk Hogan literally
his second heel turn
has become, but like that was bad. That was really bad.
And honestly, he just signed a new Legends deal too, and they just signed a sponsorship with his beer.
And it was sad because, again, I'm sure he feels the same way that Vince McMahon feels watching that show.
Yeah, which
is like I
don't recognize the thing.
Bill, I don't recognize the thing I really helped build.
Yeah, which is good. Build. Bye. It's moved past you.
Yeah.
But no, keep him out of here. But I was more hyped to see Jimmy Hart.
But you gotta. I mean, did you see him just try and power through though? He was like a wholeheartedly powered through. That was bombing and was like he came out there and he's like, anyone in here got a bidet?
That was the bomb of a century.
And then nobody clapped and he did.
That's the type of bomb that
5 minutes of bidet. Like what? Like dude, like. What are you doing, dude? Nobody's selling what you're buying. No one's buying what you're selling, dude.
That's the type of bomb that I feel so awkward. I'll leave the room.
Oh, so when you bomb like that, you don't then flex at the end?
No.
You don't just stand there and flex for, like it was. I mean, you don't.
I want to see an open micer bomb and then do the Hulk Hogan poses from now on.
He probably walked backstage and was like, now that's how you cut a promo. Oh boy, still got it. Me and Flair should run it back one more time.
Flair was behind the curtain and gave him a high five. Like, nice set, bro.
Why wasn't Flair there? I mean, he's
about to be on AEW, so they probably don't want him.
Right. I mean,
he chose his
fate. He messed up. Yeah.
All right, main event. CM Punk again uses 2 go to sleeps.
Has to
take care of Seth freaking Rollins. Wrong call, man. Like, unless this leads to something for Seth Rollins, I don't feel like putting CM Punk over. It was the right call.
Well, so we have to talk about it, right? CM Punk is now over. He beat Drew.
Didn't like that.
He beat Seth.
Really didn't like that. If this leads to what we were talking about with Drew, Seth, and KO doing something to where they've just had enough, I'm here for it. But if this was just to put CM Punk over, not here for it.
It's hard to say what the purpose of this was.
Right.
I don't think their feud is over.
No, and it shouldn't be, because that was not the look on Seth's face. I would not be surprised if next week it kicks off with Seth beating the absolute brakes off CM Punk, and that's what I want to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it was the right call, because again, you are really trying to reestablish CM Punk.
You are putting your eggs in CM Punk's basket. That, I get it. And Seth could take the loss.
And his matches are still pretty good. He gives very authentic performances.
We all saw him picking up Seth on that second GTS. And Seth is not the heaviest wrestler
but then he mustered it. And again, but there's an authenticity to the match.
I'm looking to hate on this guy.
But again, to me, I like that authenticity in the match, where it's no, you are literally fighting for your life in the middle of this fake fight.
Very true.
Thing.
Good point.
But I do think it's important to kind of reestablish him. Every time, to me, it's just like I have such a weird experience watching CM Punk wrestle right now, because I'm like, I never thought I'd see it, and
I never thought he'd be
remembering
what still tripping me out.
It's just still tripping me out, and Triple H knows this.
Yeah.
That like he creates this kind of
Taylor
Swift effect in wrestling, where you're like, did I just see that?
It is fun to see Triple H giving him a shot. because, you know,
And he's
the history of CM Punk didn't leave because of Vince. Like, he left a little bit of Vince, but his real beef was Triple H.
And you got to remember, CM Punk, I'm pretty sure, had match of the year.
Yeah.
CM Punk is doing it. He's back. Like, he had match of the year with Drew McIntyre.
I keep waiting for him to get hurt. I'm surprised he came out of Hell in a Cell unscathed. So he is continuing to win me over piece by piece, but it's hard. Watching that main event, I understand it was needed for storylines. We are building CM Punk. He is going to challenge for the belt. Don't let him win the Royal Rumble.
But I'm looking at it, and it's like you keep using Seth to kind of put people.
That's what I'm saying. You use Seth's my favorite wrestler going right now.
When Cody came back, you used him
3 times.
Now with
you couldn't give Seth one of those 3.
Now with Punk. Now again, you did give Seth the world title for a while, but where does Seth go from here? Seth's got
win the Royal Rumble.
Seth has options though with Roman. I mean, Seth, gosh, he's another guy that you can tell was operating in a new confidence.
Yeah,
he's a guy we've been watching, and it's like, yeah, we like Seth, we see it, but this felt like, and the same with Drew. It's like, even 6 months ago, I'd say Drew isn't there yet. He's almost there. His character is almost, and everyone's character is like, whatever they did, they plotted it perfectly to be like, y'all are all going to be at 100% by the time we hit Netflix.
And I will give it to him.
And it happened.
That's what's winning me over with CM Punk is that catalyst. That CM Punk is that feud that it drew the best out of Drew. Mm-hmm. And now it's going to put those promos that Seth has been firing. I mean, that fire, dude.
They ended the last promo of the year on Raw was arguably the best of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if CM Punk is being used as this lightning rod to pull the absolute best out of these guys, entirely here for it. I just don't think he needs to be to do it. You know what I mean? Like and I'm not saying CM Punk is strictly here to put people over. That's not the case. I just don't want Seth to be strictly here to put people over.
Totally.
So what you giving this match?
Dude, I'm giving
got a little blood.
Yeah,
a little John Moxley action, you know?
I mean, I'm probably going to give it a 9.
Okay.
I thought it lived up to the hype. I thought it was a good match. They brought intensity. It was a great Raw main event. I'm giving it a 9. I felt very satisfied by it.
I give it an 8 just strictly because I wanted a little chaos, and I didn't get enough chaos.
Yeah.
But like you said, great Raw main event, great TV main event. Mm-hmm. Like we got, and like at the end of the day, we are super hyped. Raw's on Netflix.
Yeah.
But we got to remember, it is their weekly show.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
like this
on week. 10 every week.
I mean, this was but I mean,
that's the comments I read online. Is people were like, "This didn't happen and this didn't happen." I was like, "It's one show.
Yeah,
they can't, bring back every single return.
Right?
They can't give a Charlotte, Becky, Penta,
and they formatted it like a PLE.
They did great. If this was a PLE, I would not have been upset.
The next Monday Night Raws after this. I mean, again, we are kind of on the road to the Rumble and the WrestleMania, so I do think we are going to continue to get very cinematic feeling episodes. But yeah, not every episode is going to feel like a PLE, and it shouldn't.
No,
we're going to get a lot more, I think, character development and just a lot more wrestling.
Yeah.
Whereas this was a very specific introduction to a global audience.
I think they nailed it.
They absolutely nailed it.
You overall satisfied with the show?
Oh yeah. And so I want to kind of talk about what we can now expect over the next few weeks and months with Raw on Netflix. I mean, one thing that I did see is, and I think again the global community might like this, but Goldberg is going to be having his. He's going to be coming back on a Raw episode in a couple of weeks in Atlanta.
Advertise it?
Yeah, in Atlanta. Okay. Where he's from, and gets a big pop. I don't know if they're going to be doing his retirement match there or setting it up, but that's something that folks can look forward to.
It would never happen, but I just hope Gunther squashes that dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that folks can look forward to. I do see a Charlotte and Becky return at some point, maybe at the Rumble. I think folks can expect
Alexa
that.
Bliss is another one we got to keep an eye on. Do you know they said that she could be returning soon?
And I think we see a lot of The Rock over the next few months.
A lot of Cena. I never in a million years thought 2025 I'd be so hyped to find out what's next for John Cena.
Right. Absolutely.
The last time is now.
It's unbelievable. So it's I mean, overall, it was a historic night. I think one thing that was captured is fans feel a sense of ownership over the product, a sense of
they're
pride
finally listening
in the
to
product. Well, in that, not that they're listening to us, but that they're listening to us.
Okay.
Fans for so long have had to defend their love of professional wrestling.
I like that.
That's over.
I got you.
No, we're on Netflix now. Did you watch the show? I'm not explaining anything anymore.
No. You're not a fan? Okay.
But it just felt like a culmination of years and years and years of this art form having to prove itself, and truly no more. It is the gold standard when it comes to a sports and entertainment property seeking global appeal. I am so excited for the future of the company and the product now that we are all going to be enjoying it in real time. It is
very well put.
Truly incredible, again, for something that you might have had to defend your love of it your entire life.
Yeah, we're almost 40 and we're not taking it anymore. Mm-hmm. All right, give me a Raw superstar that you think is going to shine in this new format.
Ooh, Raw superstar that's going to shine in the new
I'm going Braun Breaker. That kid's meant to be a star, and he's on that next pedestal, and he's going to shine.
Yeah.
And I think, low-key, 2025, watch out, Ludwig Kaiser.
Okay.
My man is going to be elevated. I full-on expect him to win this feud with Sheamus next week.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to start a nice, long feud for the IC title with Braun, and I think that's going to bring in Ilya back, and I just think the IC, the mid-card scene on Raw is going to be top-notch.
I'm going Andrade.
Ooh, okay.
I think Andrade is got that international appeal.
I love it.
His in-ring work.
I want to see him and Penta work
so
together.
Authentic, so
Those are the only two
convincing.
luchadors I want to work together.
I mean, and I think that he's just a champion.
Yes.
I think he presents as a champion. Again, when you talk about guys that are playing the game versus are the game, he's the game.
He's the game.
And
Dude, I get bumped with like El Idolo, and he's got the mask. Like, dude doesn't even talk, and he's threatening. I
don't know if he's on Raw. I think he's on SmackDown right now.
But we got the portal.
But I want
the transfer
I want him
portal.
to end up on Raw because again, Raw's the flagship show, and the Raw it's just really exciting that even as a fan, the reason why we're excited is because now WWE can't phone it in.
No.
The world is watching, not just America.
They're very held accountable.
The world is watching every week, and we are now back to I don't know. I'm now back to like very excited for Monday nights. This is the same way that I was when it was the Attitude Era, and I'm like, what's going to happen? Every moment kind of matters. Like, I mean, every Monday Night Raw now feels very important, very must see.
Yes.
What a time. What a time.
Well, what you got coming up comedy wise?
What do I got coming up comedy wise? Well, later this month, very excited that Netflix is coming to Nashville to do some auditions. So actually, on Wednesday, January 22nd, at 8:45 p.m. at the Lab at Zany's, I'm going to be doing a Netflix is a Joke audition show.
Dope.
So if you're in Nashville, please come on out.
Support your boy.
That's Wednesday, January 22nd at 8:45 p.m. Then I leave the next day for Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Looney Bin, where I will be there January 23rd through the 25th. I believe it's about 5 shows. And then again, if you are in Nashville, and you're looking for something to do next weekend, next Friday, January 17th, I'm going to be at Grandpa Bar.
I am as well.
For
I'll
2
be on that show with you.
with Drew Harrison. It's going to be a great time.
I'll leave for Antigua the next day for a vacation.
Oh, heck yeah. And I'm working backwards because we also have another show coming up together this Sunday night.
If
Knoxville,
it don't snow.
Tennessee at Al Ray's. It might snow. We might not actually be able to do that.
I got
show.
a whole fun weekend that might get canceled because of this dadgum snow.
So we'll see what plays out there. But Knoxville, Tennessee, if the weather cooperates, me, Drew Harrison, and my good friend Micah Cohn, we will be seeing y'all on Sunday, January 12th. What do you got coming up, Mr. Drew Harrison?
Hopefully be with you in Knoxville on Sunday. Going to be at Grandpa Bar on the 17th. Got Third Coast on the 26th. We're doing a big show at Basement East on February February 2nd.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even get into February.
So we got a lot coming up, man. We got a lot coming your way from this podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Hope you like the new format. This is what we're going to be doing forward. More talk showish, more just topics, seeing how we feel about it. So we appreciate y'all riding with us. All of our new subscribers, we appreciate you so much. 2025 is going to be an amazing year. We'll see you next week.